how Training Think Tank survived as a CrossFit entity without any champion. The entire foundation of our business for the first 6 years only operated in one-on-one relationships. Went into Wall Street and I was like, this life isn't for me. And this is the best hour of their day. The truth is, it's not the masses. Like the program hoppers, those are not my people. I think it's it's the foundation of how this culture was built. One of my close friends, I was talking to, and I shared a chapter in my book, and I was, that process is just very vulnerable for me. First of all,
Your unreleased book.
My unreleased book. I wrote a rough draft of a book, and there are things I'm talking about that are not related to CrossFit, or they're about being vulnerable about who I am and where I came from, or things that I'm not super proud of. So I'm very cautious because I'm worried about cancel culture or how people will perceive me in my current CrossFit role. So I sent it out, and he sent me something back where I was trying to figure out what kind of a chapter could I release to the audience of people that I have now as kind of a teaser, or I've been talking about it for so long, it's a real thing. Here's a sample of what I've been writing.
It's not a fake book.
Yeah. And he read it, and then he sent back, I think what people would want to know, which I think meant what he would want to know, is how Training Think Tank survived as a CrossFit entity in the realm without any champions. And he started listing off, Training Plan was built on Annie's championship. Comp Train was built on Matt and Katrin's championship. Invictus had Camille won, and there was a championship. And Hard Work Pays Off obviously has multiple championships, and Proven has multiple championships, and Mayhem has multiple championships. And everyone started talking about these training camp things and throwing us into this training camp idea. And he was like, I'd want to hear about that. So I started thinking about what is it? And I think a lot of it was individualization. The entire foundation of our business for the first 6 years only operated in one-on-one relationships. It was only individual coaching and education. So people got really connected, and we built a culture, and we bounced ideas off of one another. And that still exists within our business, and it exists in how we operate too. Even our group program, I get all of the emails of all of the What Up comments, and when people post in the water cooler, and then I go into the app and you can see Brandon responding to everyone about everything. And it's the goal of our whole system is to build community. Now, in the process of building community, it's top down, led by an overthinker, over-analytical, hyper-obsessive person that wanted to help people get to the highest level. So that's embedded into it. But I think the core is humanity. It's people. And Training Think Tank as an idea was basically the underlying concept of why I wanted to do it was because I didn't want to be the forefront of the business. I didn't want it to be the Max Fitness Academy, because I didn't want to be in the spotlight. I really didn't think that highly of myself. And I thought man, I'm an idiot. I'm late to shit all the time. Or my mind's boo, 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 boo. I need good thinkers and people around me to help me be better. And that was the think tank concept. So I think the foundation of our culture is just connection with humans.
Did you write that chapter again, or was there something?
I just put notes down. I think when I started
now
going
I want
through
that.
him,
I want to hear that chapter.
yeah. I put that in my business chapter. So I started thinking about what it is that he was asking me, and I think this whole thing is really weird for me because I started it as a passion project because I hated the business world. I went through financial education and accounting education, went into Wall Street, and I was like, this life isn't for me. I'm not putting a freaking suit on and sweating in a subway and walking to work and sitting at a desk.
You would definitely be sweating in the subway,
dude,
too.
No, I was, because I did internships. Yeah. So here's my life when I did an internship at the investment bank. My alarm went off at 3:30 in the morning. I was in upstate New York. I would get up, take a shower, get in a car, drive 30 minutes to the train station, sit on a 45-minute train into the city, get off, walk to the subway, take the subway downtown into the financial market, get to the office about an hour and 20 minutes later. So 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm there. You're there all day, sitting in front of a computer screen from 5 in the morning. And at that stage, you're basically a like a loser. You're getting coffee, not a loser. You're a very, very, very below entry level person. Like they want to prove that
you felt like a loser.
Yeah, I felt like a loser. And you're working from 5 a.m. until 7 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., depending on whether or not your superiors left, because you got to be the last person there if you're proving that you're worthy to get a job that's going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just out of college. So, of course, that's what I wanted. And I'm like, all right, fuck yeah, I'm going to be the last person here. I would get off at whatever that time was, and I had a gym membership inside of Manhattan, so I would work out, then take the subway back, take the train back, get in my car, get back to the house, and fall asleep at like 11 o'clock. So I was basically doing that on like 4 hours of sleep. And you guys see, like, I sleep 10 hours a day and I could barely make being on time to the podcast at 9 o'clock in the morning. So after the summer, I was like, I'm not going to do this. Like, nothing is worth making this into my life for money. It's never going to solve the fact that I can't survive this. I don't like this. So I left that whole world and tried to figure it out in the fitness market, like working at Dick's Sporting Goods, doing personal training. And I really built Training Think Tank as a passion project. It was like, I want to coach high level athletes and I want to help athletes get good information. And I want to get through all this bullshit in the fitness market. It was like a deep seated, like rageful reaction to the way culture was. But then I needed to figure out how to turn it into a business, because this is the worst business to be in from a financial perspective. Like, you can come out of college and make over $100,000 a year sitting behind a computer, but people in our culture don't value fitness. So like getting them to pay for training is hard, right? Like we had to build a culture of people that really valued training. And
you're getting people to pay money to do something they don't want to do.
Suffer. Yeah. It's a hard sell, but it worked some weird way. Great people. We got great, like our demographic of people care so much about what they can do and they want to challenge themselves. And some of them have those jobs that I didn't like. And this is the best hour of their day, or the best 90 minutes of their day. It's where they get focus and primal and they get to breathe hard and suffer so that they can endure their jobs and sit there and get their paycheck. And like, I don't know, I take that really, really to heart. But circling back to the culture chapter, in the chapter of writing my book, I think I wrote, how did we survive when everything said we shouldn't? Like, even as simple things, like I'm a fitness leader. If I took my shirt off and I stood and I posed next to every influencer that's in the fitness space, I'm not winning a freaking beauty contest. Like, no supplement company is paying me to be the face of their like organization of fitness. I'm not the typical Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, so I didn't have that going for me. I'm so hyper analytical and like hard to understand that I know that. I've been trying to simplify things and make myself easier to understand, even to myself. So there were all these things. The business started out when I was in a really bad place, in a lot of debt. I was in a really bad place emotionally, struggling with things. So I don't know, man. That chapter was weird to write because I'm not really sure how it survived. I honestly think that it was just like the only way it survived was the people. It was the people, the community, the people, the CrossFit community, the people of the TTT. Like, you guys believed in me. Like, the fact that like you were the first coach that signed up and you were like super excited to come on board and do it. Like, on the backside of that conversation for me, I'm like, why is this guy trusting me to do this?
Wait, that's right? I've never taken a second to think about that from the reverse side.
Yeah,
I
imposter
was just
syndrome for years.
For me, you presented this opportunity, and I was like, man, this is an opportunity to work with people outside of my, my small geographic location, to work with athletes who potentially, like you, I had this bug that I wanted to work with high level athletes, and I needed to expand my reach, and it was just this awesome opportunity. Yeah. And I was like, why does this guy
what double imposter syndrome's just figuring it out.
Spider-Man's.
Exactly. Pointing finger Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, here's
hold on, by the way, this went way off the rails from beginning.
We'll have to put a bumper in the intro that says this was the topic and we went to more interesting places. That's fine. Yeah. I think that's why I think the people that I like these kind of podcasts. No offense to the people who want to stay on track. There's something to that too, but sometimes you got to enjoy an episode that just goes off the rails.
And that I just follows the ADHD
yeah,
brand.
it's fine. So on that note, what do you think would happen to this brand if, like, what changes, good or bad, if we did one day get a champion?
Huh.
You ever thought about that?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I think that it would produce good things, and I think it would produce bad things. The good things are obviously we have infrastructure to scale. I think it's one of the things that I look at and I'm super proud of. Like, I have a bunch of coaches. It's not just me. It's a bunch of coaches that I trust who've proven that, like, I gave people opportunity. We were talking about this, I think it was before the podcast, right? I gave people opportunity to coach people that maybe were a little bit out of their depth to start. And the mentorship process, like, I probably could have been more involved in the mentorship process, but I was involved enough to help people look through their designs, figure out how I would do things, challenge the difficulty of what they did, especially in the earlier days. I feel like with me and you, we consulted every week to start.
Yeah, but they're also here in the, how many coaches total now?
I think it's 14.
14, but they're all here.
Yeah.
And so they're all talking to each other all the time.
And seeing it and seeing what, like, we were laughing yesterday at, David had 50 deadlifts for time at 315 as a workout. And I was in here working out, and Adam told him that he would do it as 50 singles. And David came up to me. He's like, "You think I should do 50 singles?" And I was like, "No, I think you should try to do it unbroken, like the people in the 2-minute deadlift challenge." And we just started laughing. And I was like, well, you can see we're different people. I was like, probably the right answer is somewhere between Adam's conservative, methodical nature and my crazy, aggressive overshooting.
That's why I like Adam as a coach.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about balancing the people here.
Yeah.
So, like, I hired Adam for a very specific reason, and that was because he balances out my, like, I'm just going to go unbroken.
Yeah.
Like, why would I not?
Yeah. Emotional steadiness and rational thinking in high pressure situations. Like, you know, watching, maybe he keeps it in better. I've asked him, like, at the competition, even at semifinals this year, I've been doing it for 10 years, and still I go in there and my body is like it feels like it's preparing for like a wrestling match or a fight. Like, I can feel my heart in my chest, like, poof, 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 poof. And then right before they're about to go out, it's like, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally just going to stand here and watch. Why does this happen? Yeah.
It's empathy, which is such a critical component of coaching humans, right?
Yeah.
It's like to be able to feel what the other person's feeling.
But I talked to Adam, and he's like, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but, like, he's coaching freaking 8 people. He's super calm. Like, people are crushing it. People are struggling. And he's just, like, so level headed and steady.
I think it's a show, Max. I think it's a show. Not a show. I think
he's calling you out, Adam.
I think on the inside, Adam is exploding.
Yeah.
And maybe. I think he's just really good at
keeping it in.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think, but to the question was, if we get a champion, I think the benefit is that we would have the infrastructure to grow and support a bigger community. The downside is there are a lot of people that are fair weather fans that are not my ideal person. Like, if I were writing, who do I want to work with? Who do I want to represent our culture? The truth is, it's not the masses. Like, the program hoppers who are like, oh, they won, they got it figured out, I'm going to go with them. Now they lost, they're shitty, I'm going to go to this team. Those are not my people. My people are like, I vibe with this. I vibe with the culture, the ideology, the way of thinking.
They want to
the
play
other
the long
people
game.
Are here. They want to be a part of something long and continuous and sustainable and well thought out, and have people they can rely on if they make mistakes. So that's the downside I always worry about with scale, is that as you scale, you lose a little bit of that. But I kind of think of it like there will be layers of an onion. Like, the core of TTT will always be what I just explained. It'll be the people that have been playing the long game with us and who have believed in us before it was cool to believe in. And then you're going to get this peripheral group of customers or part of the community or athletes or whatever you call it that will expand and contract relative to what's going on in the market. So if we have champions, it's going to be like, oh, everything's going well, it's awesome. And then if you don't, it might pull back a little bit. But the real focus is like, well, the core of the onions, who we're going to focus on crushing it for, the people that are here now that we know that are part of it for different reasons. They're not part of it because we're a championship brand. I mean, I've won a lot of things in CrossFit, quarterfinals things, semifinal things, open things, sanctionals, regionals, but never CrossFit Games, never a team, never a Masters. That's an eluded title from my resume as a coach. I don't really care anymore. It doesn't bother me, but it's true. If somebody was saying like, well, he's done this, but he hasn't coached a champion at the games. Well, it's like, well, you're right.
You said you kind of got into this because it was almost like you were trying to prove to everybody, like you had something to prove when you started, right? I want to coach champions. I want to change the fitness market. Like you had this thing that you wanted to change, and now here you are, and you've built a thing that is like changing. Yeah. That's changing everything itself. And so it's like, maybe it doesn't matter as much to you.
It doesn't. It changed everything itself. It changed me. So
to hear the rest of the conversation, including the key to developing CrossFit athletes, how TTT survived as a CrossFit camp without any champions, how coaching athletes to win the CrossFit Games changed max, and why a lack of self-awareness could be holding you back in CrossFit. Check out these other clips here on the screen or listen to the full audio version on all major podcast providers.